former Prime Minister and F&M leader Hubert Ingraham says farewell.
You are my people, I am forever in your debt. Thank you, I leave as I came.
F&M's vote for their next executive team at a special convention. A Methodist church is the latest victim of copper theft. Another religious leader opposes the planned gambling referendum, plus a special event to support the disabled community.
So David is all about charities and helping the Bahamas in any way he can.
I'm Nikia DeVoe, and this is NB12 Weekend. Thanks for spending your Saturday evening with us. Hours before the Free National Movement elects a new leader, a former Prime Minister and outgoing leader Hubert Ingraham thanked delegates and convention attendees for their support during his political career. It was with standing room only in the Holy Trinity Activity Centre that Ingraham bid his party farewell as leader and left them with a charge to once again win the government. Christina McNeil was there and has this report.
A bittersweet occasion as the longest-serving leader of the Free National Movement this morning relinquished his post. This as former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham reminisced on his achievements over the past 22 years.
Delegates stood to their feet to welcome the party's outgoing leader for one final time. It was on May 17, 1990 that he was elected as party leader, and today he thanked supporters for choosing him time and time again. However, Ingraham noted that the time has come to move on.
I express my gratitude to you for permitting me to lead you into 4 general elections. In 3 of them, we became the government. Indeed, we've won 3 of the last 5 general elections in the Bahamas, with huge majorities in our first 2 terms, 57% of the vote in 1997. I accept responsibility for our most recent loss at the poll. This party and the Bahamian people made me what I could never, as a boy, have dreamed of becoming. Indeed, I thank the people of the Bahamas for having me for a longer period of time than I desired or expected. I'm happy, though, that it is they, the people of the Bahamas, who made the decision for me to go. I confess, I am happy to go.
Ingraham noted that finances played a major role in the party's performance at the polls earlier this month. In fact, he revealed that the recent election campaign has left the party about $1 million in debt. This as he thanked supporters for donating $131,000 to the election campaign over the last 3 weeks leading up to the general election. It is important, he notes, that the party continues to hold high standards when it comes to campaign financing.
When those who opposed us commenced their election television campaigns early, we did not. Not because we didn't want to, but because we couldn't afford a television campaign at the time. We needed more money to run a more effective campaign this year. We finished the campaign carrying about $1 million in debt, which our new leadership team will need to address and settle moving forward. It has always been critically important to the Free National Movement that its funding come from reputable sources and further financial support that its funding comes from reputable sources and further the financial support not compromise the hand of the government should assume office as government.
His political career saw the creation and implementation of policies that gave Bahamians more freedom, brought economic renewal and revival, provided learning opportunities, and improved and modernized the nation's infrastructure, among other things.
Thanking supporters and party members, Ingraham also acknowledged what he called 2 failures.
We've also had 2 major disappointments, certainly I have. The failure to achieve full equality for women and men under our national constitution, and the still unresolved dilemma of the status and position of children born in the Bahamas to illegal immigrants.
As the F&M tonight elects a new leadership team, Ingraham left supporters and delegates with this message to take them over the next 5 years and into the next general election.
F&Ms, remember always you are now in opposition. As a party, your focus must be on returning to the government. You must therefore hold the governing party accountable for all the outlandish promises it made during the election campaign. And you must do so at every opportunity. And you may start with crime and continue with the economy and education.
On July 19th, the anniversary of his first election in 1977, Ingraham is expected to formally retire from politics. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
After the opening speech and farewell by outgoing party leader Hubert Ingraham, the convention was closed to the public as party delegates began the nomination process. NB12 caught up with party chairman Carl Bethel before the session began to get a sense of what was expected at today's convention. After a defeat at the polls, the F&M has been committed to rebuilding, renewing, and reinvigorating the party, and Bethel says he expects the new leadership team to bear that mantle into the next general election.
It's important for any organization after a defeat to acknowledge the will and verdict of the voters, which we are presently doing. And we are in the process now of beginning to factor in what the voters have said, look at where we may have gone wrong, and see what we can do to reposition ourselves so we gain the trust of the voters and to be ready for the 2017 general elections.
Official opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis is expected to be elected unopposed. However, the race for deputy leader has been a hotly contested one. Former Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonet has also stepped down from leadership. Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner, Senator Desmond Bannister, and former Senator Gladys Johnson Sands have announced that they intend to run for deputy leader of the party. According to the F&M, this year's theme, Ignite the Future, emphasizes the determination of every member and supporter to hold the torch of freedom high. Bethel says organizing hundreds of delegates in such a short space of time was quite a feat.
Oh, it's taken an awful lot of planning. I used to always say that we could pull off a convention in 2 weeks. I did not know that my words would be put to the test in such a fashion, but in 2 weeks we have managed to do it. It took an awful lot of planning, meeting, and attempts to really pull people together in a hurry. We think we've done a pretty good job, and we're going to now move into our sessions and do the business of the Free National Movement and the Bay Area people.
The evening session, which is open to the public, began at 7 p.m. New party officers are expected to be announced at 8 p.m. While in other news, police have another murder investigation on their hands. This after a shooting victim who was fighting for his life in hospital overnight succumbed to his injuries this morning. The 39-year-old man was shot around 11:25 last night at Joe Farrington Road. Police reported today that the victim died in hospital just before 8 a.m. Police are asking for anyone with information on last night's shooting to come forward. You can contact police using the numbers on your screen. Well, a small Methodist church on Bernard Road is the latest to be broken into and vandalized. Coke Memorial Methodist Church is now left without electricity and thousands of dollars worth of damage after copper thieves ransacked the building.
Arriving here around 7:45 to get some T-shirts for our young people to go on a rally, I met the church door and everything quite secured, and then I looked around and saw air conditions missing, and then I began to go through the whole building, surmising that something would have taken place, some robbery, and then viewing the whole church, we found out a lot of damages, electrical panels and electrical plates and computers, speakers, microphones, air conditionings, all of those things were stolen from the church.
Deacon Elmina Bethel, pastor of the church, told us that the thieves broke through the roof and entered the building through the ceiling. There was damage done to every room of the small church. As we walked through, we saw benches and chairs overturned, books strewn about the floor, and even garbage dumped on the floor. The Sunday school classroom was ransacked, and every electrical socket was pulled from the walls. Electrical wiring was even ripped from the organ and the stove in the church's small kitchen. Deacon Bethel says it breaks her heart to know that people would desecrate the house of the Lord. And what's even more upsetting, she said, is that she has no idea how they're going to get the church up and running again.
Estimated as we sat and made a list for air conditions, microphones, we estimate that the repairs and replacement is going to cost us at least some $10,000.
And is that money that you have?
We don't have that, certainly not. Our church is a small church made up of children, which we minister to from the community, they're not working, they're students. We have retired people in our church and maybe about 5 or 6 full-time working people in this church. So certainly we do not have the resources and the finances, and so we appeal to those who would want to give a gift towards the replacement of this. Our insurance don't cover.
According to Deacon Bethel, it will be nearly impossible for the church's small congregation of just 50 members to repair the church and replace the items on their own, especially as more than half of the members are children. Copper theft was so widespread last year that the Ingraham administration temporarily banned the export of scrap metal. This is the 4th time the church has been broken into in its existence, the 2nd since Deacon Bethel was pastor.
It's not only our church, but I understand as I perused this morning to the other churches in the community that St. Anselm have had it, St. Mark's have experienced it, the other churches in the community have also experienced this. And so we men and women, I want to appeal to the men, turn your lives over to Jesus Christ. That's what I want to say. And this stuff will stop. If you turn your lives to Jesus Christ, He will take complete control of your life. And this kind of stuff that you are doing to God's work, God's buildings, will stop.
Police are investigating the matter, but the deacon also made this appeal to members of the public.
Persons who are involved in the sale or the exchange of these items, we want you to be aware that you are buying stolen goods that belongs to God. And so I feel that, you should not, persons who are in this business need not to be buying these items from these persons who are selling them.